Yo, what up? So first of all, I'm recording this really late at the night, so sorry if I appear tired and dead because I pretty much am. But I thought it's been a while. This is going to be a long string of Instagram stories, just as a heads up. So, for those of you wondering what's been going on with me, obviously most of you know that I am down in Cornwall, which is where I am from. As you can see from the background and the group shot picture, I am not at home, or I am home depending on your point of view. Um, Many of you guys know that I came down because my dad has had open heart surgery. He's had a quadruple bypass. The idea was that I was coming down to help look after him, but he got discharged from hospital the same day that I came down, which we didn't know. I thought it would probably be the same day or the day after, which is why I booked when I did. He came out on a Tuesday, and on the Wednesday he went back in because I looked through his discharge summary, and for those of you who don't know, I used to work in a hospital. I do understand a lot of what was on the sheet. My partner is a midwife in training, um, and I was only a HCA, but the ward I was on, trust me, I had to learn a lot more than I thought I would in terms of understanding medical terminology and what various things mean. Now, the important one that I spotted, or two things actually that I spotted. Number one is that he suffered a kidney injury, and it turned out it was an infection, and it was a stage 2 infection, which means it wasn't something that was going to clear up on its own, and nor was it something that wasn't serious. So they gave him treatment for that, and they said it was sorted. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. The second thing that bothered me and my partner is that his hemoglobin levels were only a 9. Top tip: if you ever get your blood test done and you see that your hemoglobin level is only in single digits, you are likely to be taken to a bed pretty much straight away because you're anemic. And you're probably finding that you can barely do anything for yourself, and you'll get tired extremely quickly, which he was, which, you know, is a great thing to have after having your chest ripped open and all of your ribs broken, your legs cut open, and you're supposed to go allegedly to a doctor's surgery yourself to have yourself checked up on the next day. That wasn't happening. So we had the district nurses come and visit, and they were not impressed with what they saw, and the dressings weren't good enough, and his leg was leaking. I say leaking instead of weeping because it was weeping when he was discharged from the hospital, not blood, it was fluid, but now it was leaking. As in, if it kept going, it was going to rip open. So that was concerning, so they tried to sort that as best they could, but then 40 minutes later, a doctor turned up, which was the big clue that they had really not been impressed and had passed it on. He took one look at my dad and he just sat down and said, "Which hospital do you want to go to?" Didn't even bother looking at him. He did look at him, don't get me wrong, but he knew as soon as he just looked at him. The fluid buildup in my dad's body went from his feet, which looked like he'd stuffed balloons in and had inflated them, all the way up to his higher back, just beneath his chest, which obviously his heart is under incredible stress and pain right now. And yeah, there's so much fluid built up in his body. His kidneys were infected, so they weren't doing their job, which is why he had the buildup of fluid. And yeah, big problems. Well, he needed a blood transfusion to sort his hemoglobin levels. He needed a pump put through to him to try and get rid of this fluid and get it moving and get it out, which that has actually happened. But he's been complaining that he has a weight on his chest. Now, as an asthmatic, I know what that feels like. And he had problems with his lungs. They wouldn't reinflate after the surgery. Uh, they obviously did reinflate, but it took him a lot longer to get off of the oxygen machine than it should have. So it now turns out that his left lung is infected, and he also has Dressler's syndrome, which tends to happen after you've had a heart attack or you've had major heart surgery, but it shouldn't happen this quick. And it's escalated, not necessarily brought on, but it's escalated by stress. So it's brought on by the physical stress to your body, but it's been escalated in this case by the mental stress that he's been going through because he's just had problem after problem after problem that he has been told flat out is because he should never have been discharged from the first hospital in the first place, but they obviously wanted the beds, so he was literally still bleeding slash weeping from his leg, so they just put two dressings on his leg instead of one to cover it up, so that he could get out of the hospital and they weren't his problem anymore. Today, we've been told that his chest wound is now leaking because, as I say, there's such a problem with these fluids in his body. His kidneys are still infected and he's now on antibiotics, which he wasn't discharged with any, so that wasn't being sorted. Now his lung has an infection and he's got Dressler syndrome. All of this stuff is combining, and they've basically turned around now and said tomorrow they need to do yet another echocardiogram and more scans, and they're going to do another blood test, and basically he may end up going back to the original hospital that he started out in that discharged him too early, because the hospital he's currently in, they think he may have to be opened up again, which no one wants to do. They're not going to do it because they didn't operate him on in the first place, which is fair enough and completely understandable, but everybody doesn't want to open him up again because that's not something you want to do. It's not really nice being opened up in the first place. So fingers crossed that he is going to respond to the current treatment, but if he gets worse, they're beginning to think that something isn't right inside from the operation, which means God knows what else is going to have to happen. And, he's already 2 weeks on Monday, so 2 days from now, he'll have had the surgery 2 weeks ago. And technically speaking, because he has been discharged, but he's now still in hospital, and his recovery from the original operation can't actually really start until all the fluid is out of his body and he's healed from these and he's recovered from these infections. So his original time off work is now going to have to be extended, which obviously he's worried about and not happy about, and that goes for all of us. And it's just a shit show, quite frankly. I mean, the surgeons did a fantastic job, but the aftercare has been atrocious, and I can't fault the people here, nor can I fault the people in the hospital he's in now. They've all been really good, but I swear to God, if I could meet the people in Derriford, and if I'd been here when he had originally been discharged, A, he wouldn't have been discharged, and B, if I see him again, if he does go into Derriford, and he points out that these are the same members of staff, they're going to have a bad day. Let's put it that way. And no, I don't care that they're busy, and I don't care that they need the bed. Yeah, you need the bed. I appreciate that. I worked in a hospital. Thing is, if the patient in question is not well enough to leave, I don't give a flying fuck who else needs the bed. You have to take care of the patients you have first. There's more than one hospital. There's more than one wing. Bed managers are employed to do that exact thing. Solve these problems. Not to get rid of people who aren't ready yet. And that's my calm, mannered response to that, because I've been thinking about doing this video for a while now. I have no idea how long this video is going to be, so I don't know where I'm going to upload it. I might put it on YouTube. I might try and see if it will fit on Instagram somehow. But, yeah. In retrospect, I should have done a live video. I've never done one of them. I'll have to try that sometime. Either way, I'm going to wrap this up here. I am all over the place, quite frankly, but I'll see what tomorrow brings. And I'll see what the rest of the week brings, depending on what I will do. I am supposed to be going back home to Southampton on Thursday, but I have absolutely no idea if I'm going to be making that train, but we'll have to see what happens, won't we? Anyway, this is Psycho Gold signing out, and I'll see you all next time. Later, guys.